subscribe to ancient absurdity.
Tonight, we're diving into the most gloriously ridiculous corners of American history. The land where democracy was invented by people who couldn't agree on who should sit near the window. This isn't the patriotic version they teach in school. No, this is the one with exploding whales, drunk presidents, and fashion choices that should have been war crimes. From Puritans banning Christmas for being too fun, to 19th century doctors prescribing bacon as medicine, to a Cold War plan to nuke the moon just to prove we could. America's timeline is basically a fever dream that somehow got funding. So buckle up, adjust your powdered wig or your trucker hat, depending on which century you feel like offending, because we're about to sprint through 400 years of questionable decisions, glorious nonsense, and pure historical chaos. This is 100 absurd historical facts about the United States. 1. The first English settlers in Jamestown nearly starved because they spent more time searching for gold than planting food. They found exactly 0 gold and several ways to die of dysentery. 2. The Puritans banned Christmas in the 1600s because it was too joyful. Imagine canceling Jesus' birthday for being bad vibes. 3. Benjamin Franklin wanted the turkey, not the bald eagle, as America's national bird. He thought the eagle was a bird of bad moral character. Franklin would have hated Twitter. 4. George Washington's false teeth weren't wooden. They were made from ivory, metal, and human teeth, probably not from volunteers. 5. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson both died on July 4th, 1826, the 50th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. Even their deaths were competitive. 6. The first 4th of July fireworks display accidentally set a dock on fire. America's been combining patriotism and property damage ever since. 7. Paul Revere didn't actually shout, "The British are coming," because everyone in colonial Massachusetts still thought they were British. Historical irony. Population. Paul. 8. Colonial doctors believed tomatoes were poisonous until someone ate one in public and didn't die. Medical breakthrough. Survival. 9. The first Thanksgiving probably didn't have turkey, just venison, eels, and beer. So basically, medieval tailgate food. 10. Founding Father Gouverneur Morris wrote part of the Constitution and also designed his own prosthetic leg after losing one in a carriage accident, chasing a woman. Founding thirst. 11. Thomas Jefferson once ordered a giant wheel of cheese, 200 pounds, as a political gift. It sat in the White House for 2 years. That's not a metaphor. 12. During the Revolutionary War, a Connecticut soldier used a fake wooden leg to smuggle secret messages. Early USB drive. 13. Alexander Hamilton wrote so many essays in the Federalist Papers that his friends begged him to stop. He didn't. Twitter energy, 18th century edition. 14. Colonial wigs were powdered with flour, starch, and sometimes crushed bones. Nothing says refined gentleman like bread dust and skeletons. 15. John Adams called Alexander Hamilton the bastard brat of a Scotch peddler. Politics was spicy even before Twitter existed. 16. A man named Timothy Dexter published a book with 0 punctuation and the title, "A Pickle for the Knowing Ones." He later printed an extra page full of random punctuation marks for readers to sprinkle where they pleased. True democratization of grammar. 17. Early American dentists recommended rubbing your teeth with gunpowder for whitening. Explosively confident smiles. 18. In 1800s taverns, people sometimes paid with raccoon pelts instead of cash. Inflation must have been wild. 19. George Washington's campaign slogan could have been, "Vote for me, I already won a war." And it worked. 20. Aaron Burr once tried to start his own country in the Southwest after killing Hamilton, when career change meant treason. 21. The first recorded UFO sighting in America happened in 1639 by the governor of Massachusetts. Maybe that's why they banned Christmas. 22. Colonial taverns often doubled as post offices, hospitals, and courts. You could mail a letter, sue your neighbor, and get drunk, all in one stop. Efficiency. 23. In 1787, while writing the Constitution, delegates drank over 100 bottles of wine in a single evening. Democracy was born from a hangover. 24. Early American flag makers argued about how many points the stars should have. Betsy Ross won with 5 points, proving democracy thrives on design choices. 25. The first recorded streaker in US history happened in 1804 at Yale. The dean called it a moral collapse. The students called it Tuesday. 26. Andrew Jackson owned a parrot that swore so much it had to be removed from his funeral. The bird died as it lived, cussing at authority. 27. In 1835, the US paid off its entire national debt and immediately went back into debt the next year. Peak American consistency. 28. The state of Indiana once tried to legally change the value of pi to 3.2. Math disagreed. 29. During the California gold rush, eggs were so expensive they were literally worth their weight in gold. Omelets became a luxury item. 30. Abraham Lincoln is in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. He won about 300 matches and lost only once. Honest Abe, undefeated champ. 31. A Wisconsin town once elected a cat as mayor, twice, which statistically improved local politics. 32. In 1859, America invaded Canada. It was over a pig. The Pig War ended with 0 human deaths and 1 very unlucky pig. 33. Harriet Tubman carried a revolver on her rescue missions, partly to protect herself, partly to keep nervous runaways from turning back. She was the Underground Railroad's entire security system. 34. President Zachary Taylor died after eating too much fruit and milk at a July 4th party. The real cause of death, patriotism. 35. In 1876, the first phone call was made by Alexander Graham Bell. His first words were, "Mr. Watson, come here." Not exactly historic banter. 36. Mark Twain was born and died with Halley's Comet. He called it, literally said, "I came in with the comet and I'll go out with it." Cosmic mic drop. 37. During the 1800s, doctors prescribed heroin for coughs and morphine for headaches. You didn't get better, but you definitely stopped caring. 38. The Liberty Bell cracked the first time it rang. It's been a national symbol of freedom and bad quality control ever since. 39. Cowboys didn't actually say "yeehaw." That was invented by Hollywood. Real cowboys mostly said, "Ow, move, and that's my horse." 40. President James Garfield could write Latin with one hand and Greek with the other, simultaneously. The original multitasker. 41. The state of Kentucky once declared war on itself. It was a boundary dispute. The only winner was confusion. 42. In 1849, New York's cholera outbreak inspired people to wear garlic necklaces as protection. It worked against friends. 43. Thomas Edison electrocuted an elephant to discredit his rival's electric system. PR was dark in the 1890s. 44. The first roller coaster in America was built to distract people from sin. It worked better than sermons. 45. The Wild West lasted less than 30 years, but Hollywood has made it feel longer than most marriages. 46. In the late 1800s, some American doctors believed mustache cups, teacups with little guards, could prevent depression. Science was going through a phase. 47. New Jersey briefly had a king. A man named James Strang crowned himself monarch on Beaver Island. His reign ended when someone shot him. Democracy resumes. 48. The first recorded baseball game had no gloves, no umpires, and no rules about not drinking during play. America's pastime started as a bar fight with bases. 49. Ulysses S. Grant got a speeding ticket on horseback from a D.C. policeman. The president apologized and paid $5. Integrity, but make it cowboy. 50. During the Civil War, soldiers on both sides stopped fighting on Christmas to sing carols together, before resuming the next day. Nothing says holiday spirit like temporary peace, followed by cannon fire. 51. In the late 1800s, cigarette ads featured doctors claiming smoking was good for your throat. Science and marketing went out for a drink and never came back. 52. Henry Ford once tried to build a utopian city in the Amazon rainforest called Fordlandia. It failed because the workers hated the food, the mosquitoes, and the jazz band. 53. The Wright brothers' first flight lasted 12 seconds, about as long as most New Year's resolutions. 54. In 1919, Boston's streets flooded with 2 million gallons of molasses. It killed 21 people. Slowest disaster ever. 55. Women in New York were once arrested for wearing bathing suits that showed their knees. Scandalous knees. 56. Teddy Roosevelt got shot during a campaign speech and finished the speech before seeing a doctor. Modern politicians faint from bad polls. 57. During Prohibition, the government literally poisoned industrial alcohol to discourage drinking. It didn't work. It just made bootleggers better chemists. 58. The FBI once spent 2 years investigating whether Louie Louie was obscene. They couldn't understand the lyrics either. 59. Al Capone's business card described him as a used furniture dealer, which technically is true if you count broken legs as furniture. 60. During the Great Depression, a town in Iowa printed money on corn husks. The economy was literally corny. 61. The first selfie was taken in 1839 by an American photographer. It took him 8 minutes to expose the plate. No filters, just patience. 62. In the 1930s, the US government tried to fight the Dust Bowl by killing 2 million pigs. They fixed one problem and created another. Bacon inflation. 63. Amelia Earhart once advertised Lucky Strike cigarettes right after setting a flight record. Fly high, cough higher. 64. The Empire State Building has its own zip code, because when you're that tall, you deserve male privileges. 65. A man once sued Pepsi because he didn't receive the Harrier jet they offered in a commercial. He lost, but the lawsuit became legend. 66. Franklin D. Roosevelt banned private citizens from owning gold. Americans responded by hiding it in walls and toilets. Economic hide and seek. 67. During Dobitude, the US government trained pigeons to guide missiles. Turns out, birds aren't great at war. 68. In 1943, a Navy ship supposedly disappeared in the Philadelphia experiment. It didn't. Someone just lost track of paperwork. Bureaucracy, the real magic. 69. The US once planned to drop bombs filled with bats carrying firebombs over Japan. It failed when the bats burned down the test base instead. Nature strikes back. 70. The Pentagon was built with 5 sides to save space. It's now famous for being the most confusing building in America, geographically and politically. 71. The CIA tried to make Fidel Castro's beard fall out using chemical shampoo. The Cold War was basically prank warfare. 72. During the 1950s, Disneyland had a real gun shop on Main Street. Imagine buying a rifle between rides. 73. The US once detonated a nuclear bomb in outer space, just to see what would happen. Spoiler, a lot of radiation, 0 superpowers. 74. Richard Nixon played the piano on national television. It was the most relatable thing he ever did. 75. In the 1960s, the US Army built a fake town to test nuclear bombs, complete with mannequins posed like happy families. The American dream, vaporized for science. 76. In 1973, the CIA tried to recover a sunken Soviet submarine by disguising the mission as a deep-sea mining project. They called it Project Azorian. Translation: Ocean Heist, U.S. Edition. 77. Jimmy Carter once claimed he saw a UFO. He later admitted it was probably Venus, still more believable than Watergate. 78. In the 1970s, the US government paid people to test LSD. Some of them didn't know they were being tested. Clinical chaos, sponsored by your tax dollars. 79. The Pentagon spent millions researching psychic soldiers. None of them ever predicted budget cuts. 80. Ronald Reagan's astrologer advised the timing of major policy announcements. The Cold War by horoscope. 81. In 1983, a video game called E.T. sold so poorly that Atari buried thousands of copies in the desert. Archaeologists later found them. Ancient ruins of bad design. 82. The US once printed a $100,000 bill. It was only for use between banks and pure nightmare fuel for anyone with a wallet. 83. A man once parachuted onto the White House lawn to protest airport noise. He proved his point. Loudly. 84. In the 1980s, McDonald's made bubblegum-flavored broccoli. Test audiences were traumatized. 85. NASA once spent years developing a pen that could write in space. The Soviets just used pencils. 86. The US accidentally dropped a hydrogen bomb on North Carolina in 1961. It didn't explode. North Carolina has never relaxed since. 87. In 1992, the Mall of America opened with its own wedding chapel. Nothing says eternal love like proximity to a Cinnabon. 88. During the 90s, Congress held hearings on the lyrics of heavy metal music, the nation's top priority, Ozzy Osbourne. 89. Bill Clinton sent his first email in 1993 to astronaut John Glenn. The message? Hi. Historic understatement. 90. The CIA once created a fake vaccination campaign in Pakistan to find Osama bin Laden. It worked, but also destroyed global trust in actual vaccines. Double-edged spycraft. 91. In 2001, a man bought an old storage locker and found a Cold War jet engine inside. eBay was wild back then. 92. The US military spent $2.7 million developing a gay bomb that would make enemy soldiers fall in love instead of fight. Science couldn't even. 93. Florida once banned computers and smartphones under an anti-gambling law. By accident, the entire internet was briefly illegal. 94. In 2006, a Kentucky man tried to pay his bar tab with a $1 million bill. The bartender wasn't impressed. 95. The US once considered building a space mirror to reflect sunlight and control the weather. We can't fix potholes, but sure, let's manage the atmosphere. 96. In 2011, the US government officially declared pizza a vegetable because of the tomato sauce. Nutrition by lobbyists. 97. A town in Nebraska celebrates Testicle Festival every year. You can guess the menu. 98. In 2018, a man called 911 because his McNuggets order was wrong. The founding fathers would be proud. 99. Area 51 wasn't officially acknowledged until 2013. Before that, it was just the worst-kept secret on Earth. 100. Every year, the Library of Congress adds video games, memes, and TikToks to its archives. Proof that the nation built on liberty and reason now also preserves Charlie Bit My Finger. And there you have it. 4 centuries of American brilliance and buffoonery, served piping hot with extra chaos. From powdered wigs to TikTok filters, the United States has remained remarkably consistent in one thing: doing absolutely everything at full volume. This is the country that invented both the light bulb and the electric chair. That put a man on the moon, and also invented spray cheese. A place where freedom means arguing about coffee sizes and suing a soda company for not delivering a fighter jet. But maybe that's the charm. America's history isn't neat. It's loud, messy, and hilariously overconfident. And yet somehow it works. Against all odds, the experiment keeps running, powered by caffeine, chaos, and the unshakable belief that anything is possible if you yell it loud enough. So next time someone says history is boring, remind them, this is the nation that once nuked the moon on purpose. God bless the United States, and whatever it's planning next.
Subscribe to ancient absurdity.